podcast, the duo that you love the most, covering events from coast to coast. That podcast is all about the fun with your hosts, Alpidi and John. Chirping about gossip like chickadees. Turn up the cast and enjoy the tea. The podcast with the beauty and the brawn. One's a gay turkey and the other is a black swan. It's that podcast. It's that podcast. It's that podcast. Live from the John and Company studio in Denver, Colorado, it's That Podcast. And now, here are your hosts, Alpidi and John.
Whoa. We back, DJ Khaled.
DJ Khaled and Assad, a.k.a. Alpidi and John. Hashtag That Podcast, we are here.
What? Hashtags?
Alpidi, how the F are you in the A on
Oh.
this M? That means how the fuck are you in your asshole on this Monday?
I mean, I think it's okay. I could check real quick if you want.
Oh. My butthole's good. It's,
Mine is too, I think. So.
It too is good. Now it's very let me use a big word here, unorthodox for us to be recording this early in the week. This is a big step for you and I in the world.
Yes. We don't record on Mondays.
Yes.
There's a reason.
No, we shouldn't do things Mondays. Everyone does. Mondays, just as at large, are not people's favorite, which is also why we are going to pair a Monday podcast with probably the most loving topic we've ever hit, which of course is the law of attraction and The Secret.
Yes, we are. I forgot to write that
So
down.
if you can
earlier.
believe it is episode number 96, Alpidi. Can you believe that?
Oh my gosh, and I forgot to change our thingies, so let me do that in real time. Keep talking.
That's hilarious. So Alpidi hates moving up in podcast episodes.
Yeah.
No, that's figurative. Because it is episode number 96. We're getting so close to episode number 100. But we're going to focus on The Secret, which is so exciting. But of course, before we get into our main topic, we've got to catch up with one another.
Yes.
How, it's not been a full week, but how you been? How the last collab been for you?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
The Dakota baby.
How did Dakota baby?
You know.
Yes, same. It's literally Monday.
Exactly.
Like vocal warm-ups. I'm like red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather.
Red leather,
That's hard
yellow
to
leather.
enunciate.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, if you guys want, for those of you listening who've never taken a theater class, that's very common in theater.
And
Red
Inquire.
leather, yellow leather. Oh, Inquire, is that true? The other one that I used to love, this one's a more challenging one, is The Big Black Bug Bit the Big Brown Bear and The Big Brown Bear Bled Blood.
I hate that one. I hate that one so much because I can never do it. Like I have to write it down.
It's a tough one. Unique New York. Unique New York.
Unique.
I'm like,
New York.
enunciation. I'm a bit of a mumbler. That is a true story. Like, I
Same.
don't, it's the story of my life. And I get mad when people don't hear me. I'm like, listen up, folks.
Listen, I said. Blah, blah.
Exactly. How'd you not understand that? I said your order's up.
Thank you.
I said that. Right. So rude. So it's time. I'm so thrilled we have our soundboard guest or co-host back, whatever we call it, ampersand. Anyway, it's time for
Shout
Shout
outs.
outs.
Oh, just blesses my soul. Sorry.
I'm gonna start. My first shout out
Yes.
goes to Amazon. Okay, listen, I know that we typically give shout outs to people, and I'm sure Amazon is not probably the best company to be giving shout outs to. I don't know. But here's what I am going to tell you. I really love how quickly they come through. Like, they are like the bestie that does come through last minute, little bit of notice, and it's usually something you can pull off, whether it be like a accessory to a piece of clothing or emergency tape to wrap presents, whatever it may be. Amazon comes through. So that is this week's shout out for me.
You know what? I'm going to add on to that because I don't have Prime. I don't need it because my packages
Wow.
get here so fast. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Thanks, Amazon. Yeah.
You're so dumb. But that is so true. But think about it, that's amazing that you don't even, first of all, you don't need Prime, and that you get the package delivered. Like, the same day stuff feels like witchcraft to me. I'm like,
Yes.
I'm
The
like,
weirdest thing, but
which bruja is behind this?
right. What did I just recently order that I needed the same day? I don't remember, but I got
Or the
it.
tampon.
No. It wasn't a
Because
tampon.
the other day
Just
I
one
ordered
tampon.
because I needed it the same day.
Just
kidding,
one
because-
tampon.
Just one tampon, literally. And and that's the problem. Like I joke, but like you only need one thing, and then they send you a bulk of like 350. I'm like, I need an envelope. They're like, cool, I'll send you 1,000. I'm like, okay, I don't need 1,000. Why is the lowest quantity so high?
I literally have so many envelopes down in my little
Oh, yeah.
cabinet because I don't need that many. Thanks, Amazon.
So you know what I have plethora of. So if you this is the story of my life too. If you ever break your crock, so there's this little plastic piece that holds the strap onto the crock.
Yes.
I don't know what you call that. I call it the crock bolt, the crock nut, if you will. And so the crock nut essentially popped off one time in the snow. Right, got an attitude with me. Tried to tell me who's boss. I'm like, bitch, stop popping off on me.
My
Just
goodness.
kidding. No, it literally popped off. Like in literal terms, it said poof. And I said, what the fuck? These are brand new bistro clogs that I'm going snow shoveling in. Anyway, I digress.
I was like,
So
wait a minute.
turns out you
We're
can
not going to
buy
talk about
these-
that you're snow shoveling in Crocs.
Oh, I love it. They're the Crocs that are closed at the front. They don't have any holes.
Oh.
Run
okay.
into that.
I mean,
Amazon. I didn't get it from Amazon.
oh, okay.
Crocs Corporation. But I will tell you, I do love gibbets. I got some very cute gibbets, but that's not where I'm going with the story. My point is, I bought these little croc nuts, and I can replace my Crocs if I ever break off a snap again. Which again, the likelihood of this happening is probably very unlikely. Also, don't be trying to hit me up either if one of you people Croc breaks. Talk about, I heard
Yeah.
John on that podcast. I mean, I'll hook you up, sister friend, but
I mean, I only have
okay,
one
fine.
pair.
Fine, that's true. I have 250 of these stupid nut things. So if your crock breaks, send me a message. P.O. Box 461124 in Denver, Colorado 80246. That's a real address. Send me a letter. I'll send you back a crock remedy kit. Actually, not a whole kit. It'll be a little crock nut.
I kind of want to do that now and be like, send me something. Just...
That's P.O. Box 461124 in Denver, Colorado 80246. -1124 as well, if you feel crazy to add that second zip code. You know how zip codes have dashes sometimes?
Yeah, the last four like digits. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just makes it like
We're the
more
last for your
accurate.
social. Just kidding. Don't tell me. That would be scam.
1, 2, 3, 4.
If anyone, 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, mine's 4, 3, 2, 1.
Weird.
Because we were born at the same time.
Yep.
Everyone's
were.
like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. How does that make any fucking sense? Here's the thing, folks. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we also
You're
were.
not the boss of us. Yeah.
Actually, what
okay.
time were you born at?
What time were you born at? What time was I born at, Biddy? I believe that I was born at, I think it was 12
Uh-oh.
at night, or maybe in the
Technical issues again. So, what time was it again? Sorry.
12-ish.
12-ish? Mine was 11:18
Yeah.
p.m. I know that.
Wow. So you were not trying to be the next day of your birth. You're like,
Mhm.
this is my birthday, and I'm keeping.
I could have had a
So
cool
when you
birthday.
talk about technical problems, what happened?
It like froze really weird, and it said that my internet's unstable, even though I just did a speed test, and I am offended, and I just opened up the little menu just to see and cleared out the little dots. So sorry that you just saw that on the podcast.
No, Twitch and YouTube. Our internet is stable. It is us that is unstable.
Thank you.
It's getting mixed frequencies.
So weird.
And of course, speaking of frequencies, we're going to be getting into that whole thing in just a little while. But yeah, so it should be fun little week. I got a little travel happening this last weekend, a little slotting. That was a good old time.
Ooh.
But let's get right into of the week, which is The Secret, the Law of Attraction.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
So I will tell you to prepare for this show. So obviously, I'm pretty big proponent of The Secret, Law of Attraction. I've been listening and loving for watch The Secret movie. Is that true?
Yes, it's true. This is true. Sorry, I just got a weird
This
email that
is
said
true.
college application. Should we be nosy and see what this is? I'm working for.
We could be nosy and see what this is. Yes.
Oh gosh, I don't know why this person is emailing me. I'm not the person to email.
Wow. That is so glad we covered that. So was it a work email?
Yeah, it was a work email, but here's the thing. Let me explain.
Uh-huh.
I get unsolicited emails all the time due to the fact that my face is on the emails. On some of the emails, so. Mhm.
Yes, that makes total sense.
Yes, so.
She's the face of the brand in a lot of ways, folks. So that is that.
My face doesn't usually look like this, though.
This refreshing, frankly. And speaking of faces, you and I were talking a little bit about that AI app that's been going viral lately.
Yes.
And I got to tell you that I sent you some of the first pictures. You had a very similar experience. I got to tell you, I looked like Quasimodo in the first couple pictures. I was like, my eyes were doing some funky things. I looked like it was just a choice, right? I mean, wouldn't you agree?
Yes, and mine looked like a crazy old witch. So
Oh, yours were hysterical. You looked like a toddler in one of them, and then a
yes,
crazy old witch in another.
yes, and I'm like,
Very, very interesting.
yes, not my
Like what
jam.
this is not it.
I'm still angry about it. I'm like, I'm not doing it anymore. I tried to pay for a what was it, Lenza
uh,
subscription, and it didn't work. So I
you don't want
canceled.
your money.
It didn't want
You
your
don't want my
money.
money? Fine, don't take my money.
I mean, I gave him
And
some money, but I also
oh,
canceled the subscription.
yeah, because listen, if the app's not going to work, folks, why are you charging for these apps? Okay.
Right.
Hmm.
You're confusing. You're not being forthcoming.
Exactly. No, here's the thing. I will tell you the Lensa thing. They got me, gal. So I don't know how many of you guys have an iPhone or are using the Lensa app for this thing that's going viral, which is like they're kind of like heritagey themed sort of situations. There's been a couple different websites that have done it, but this Lensa folks have been kind of like owning the monopoly part of it. So they tell you to buy a monthly membership, okay,
Hmm.
for the app. Okay, fabulous. And it feels like an app, kind of like a GoDaddy Studio or a Canva or a Facetune. And then they ask you in order to create these avatars, which I'm sure there's some work that goes into them. They charge you an additional, whether it be like $3.99 to $7.99, depending on how many. Like I think it was $3.99 for 50 images,
Yeah.
$6.99 for 100. It's like, wait, how are you charging me a membership, and then you charging me to get? I just don't understand.
Right. And then for mine, maybe they just kind of built it into one because it said the lowest one for me was $7.99. Except beforehand, it was like to get more photos, pay $1.99. So I paid the $1.99 thinking that I could get the magic filter, but nope. They got it. I don't know, but I'm not going to pay $7, $8 or $12 or whatever the last one was. I didn't. Oh, it was like $30, and that was the one that was on sale.
No,
Like no, no, no.
I don't know what these apps are offering. I mean, there are apps that I do pay for. Okay, and I pay a hefty price for some apps, right?
Oh
But
yeah,
and
same.
also for security, some very serious stuff. But yeah, it just is so funny. I'm like, good lord, El Pity. I tell you, these apps, they're taking over. And what's interesting is that how these things kind of take over our society, right? Like
Yes.
one person posts, and I just don't know if we do have control genuinely, right, on the level that like things are manifesting in a way that we are calling into the universe, meaning more more of these avatars or more of this kind of entertainment, which in essence alters our reality. But anyway, or if it's like fed from us, right? Like, is it a much larger power that's giving this information to us muggles, if you will?
This is a great segue. Good job.
Thank you so much. And what would you say? Do you think it's more, it's what we ask for, or do you feel like it's more the latter, which is that it's more fed to us on a lot of levels?
I think it's what. I mean, I'm going to go into the law of attraction. It's what we ask for. We don't realize that we're asking for it. Oh,
Yeah, and that's
threatening.
you know that right there, my friend, is it. And I love that you said that, because that's really what the whole law of attraction thing. And you guys, you will notice we're gonna get super passionate and deep in this piece of the podcast, but it's because it is so applicable and so true to life. It's really manifestation at at its core, and you nailed it, Miss Thing.
I know I did. I'm amazing. Did you not know who I am?
Because I am, you know what I do? I do know who you are, and I think you are amazing. Now, in
Aw.
preparation for this week's show, I will tell you, I have all the audiobooks, so you know The Secret. So I'm not sure how many people are familiar with The Secret, but The Secret essentially is from Rhonda Byrne. She's created a book, and it's all the Secret is kind of this historic tale of the law of attraction, how it's really been in play for many years. But anyway, there's some follow-up titles too, if you guys are interested. The Power, The Greatest Secret, and then Hero. And then, of course, we'll talk a little bit like more advanced law of attraction study. But yeah, Rhonda Byrne, I think, really nails it. And so, with that being said, prior to the show, I actually watched the movie again,
Nice.
and I'm about three-quarters away through the audiobook again, which I've listened to probably 20 times. But I'm obsessed. So tell me what your biggest takeaway was. Like when you left watching The Secret, what did you leave like? Oh wow, that resonates.
My biggest takeaway was that I needed to say the secret like I was saying Club 96. The secret.
That's secret. That's secret.
RuPaul reference. Sorry.
Yes.
Club 96. But biggest takeaway was the phrase, what was it? Ask, believe, receive. So
Yep.
I actually have that saved as a reminder that I get every day at 10 a.m. so that I remember that phrase so I could be like, okay, change your mindset. I actually had a great conversation with my therapist and I was like, I just did this and I have a gratitude journal now. I have a gratitude journal now. Like, what the heck?
What, queen?
Yes, I would show you, but it's not near me right now. Sorry.
That's hilarious. No, but it's true, and it's all about asking, believing, and receiving. And so essentially, it's they even make the analogy of like it's like putting your order in with the universe, right? Your catalog order with the universe, asking for it, believing that you can have it, right? That's going to be the tricky part, and then being open to receive it, right? And we'll dive into each one of these subsets, but I think that's so beautiful. And again, a lot of what we have, and what I loved about you nailed it earlier too, is they say, listen, everything in your life, we're going to be a little bit in your face about it and say, you've attracted everything in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does that mean it's fair? Fuck no.
No, but
right?
you attracted it. I think the greatest example that I heard on the video was that car accident that you had. Believe it or not, you attracted that. So.
Yep. And think about it. It's like when when you stub your your toe out of bed, it kind of cascades. The whole day sort of goes like that, right? You hit red lights at every single stop on the morning commute. You spill the coffee on your shirt. At lunch, they get you the wrong order, right? A bunch of stuff that seems so trivial, but it leads to another. And what's interesting is they talk about this entire thing as a frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And thoughts, whatever you subscribe to, whether you're not subscribing to this belief system and even law, for the lack of better words, is thoughts have a frequency,
Yeah.
right? That's measured. So if thoughts have a frequency, it has to be output somewhere, right? And so if you think about it just at large, universally, right? If you just think about it, literally, that's where it's going. So of course, there's some element of return to that.
Exactly. I was going to make a good point, but my ear was hurting, so I got distracted.
My ear has hurt too deeply. But yeah, it's really just this whole thing of like thoughts become things,
Mm-hmm.
right? And focusing on what you want versus on what you don't want.
Yes, and that was a big thing for me that I took away is using the phrase "I don't want" instead of saying I want this instead of saying I don't want. That's the big thing. It's just changing it to a positive phrase versus a negative phrase.
Yep. And what you don't want is, this sounds so obvious, but it's diametrically opposed to what you do want, right? So in order to know what you do want, you have to know what you don't want,
Mm-hmm.
right? But the flip side is you also don't want to give you don't wants any energy, right? They make that analogy of traffic, 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 no traffic, no traffic, no traffic. The universe hears traffic, right? You know, it hears it more literally, or it doesn't get the nuances of our belief, right? And so if we're
Yeah.
thinking about traffic, no matter what, we're going to attract traffic. However, if we attract things like smooth commute, clear roads, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing we're actually going to attract. And I think that's a very true statement, whoever has applied it.
You brought up a good point. Like, you still have to think about the I don'ts before you can ask for the I do wants. So it's a process. You gotta really, really. Well, the good thing is too is nothing happens right away. You have time to change your mindset in order for the law of attraction to work. So
That's right, and that's how you calibrate your thought too, right? Like you think about what you just said is, in order to know what you want, you have to know what you don't want. So like at best it's a calibration system, right? So from a positive perspective, if you're saying what you don't want, that's fucking fabulous because now you know what you do want.
Yeah.
It is the diametric opposite of this non-desire is now this desire. And the more you think about the desire on thinking, it puts it out into the universe, right?
Yeah.
And I love whether you believe it's working or not.
I mean, it's working
It's
for this
working.
video game right now.
It's working for this video game.
Yeah.
Sister, tell me about that, because I love that.
Because every time I went into this video game, I actually played a little bit on Xbox Pass, and I was like, you know what? I want it on my Switch. I feel better, more comfortable on my Switch. I still want an Xbox. Yes.
Everybody over now, Switch.
But anyways, this game I've been wanting to play this game for the longest time. I didn't realize how hard it was. So I've been telling myself a lot like, hey, I want to pass this. but instead of saying I want to pass this level, I say I'm going to do this. I'm going to pass this level. So yesterday I had a really like I guess it was a boss, but it seemed like a mini boss. But he was like super hard.
He's
Ayo.
super hard, boss. Been there.
Ayo. But yesterday I went into it like DJ Khaled.
Thank you, DJ Khaled. Was a
Thank
little
you.
delayed there, but he's there.
He's
And
there.
orders up.
Thank you. But I mean, it took because I played the same round like a couple of times, and I like left it and went back and did other stuff too. And then yesterday I was like, I'm going to beat him. I'm going to beat him.
I will.
I will.
I will. I am going. And here, and there's a definitive difference in the feeling, and we're going to talk about the feeling of the next kind of subject that the secret talks about. But again, the feeling of wanting is a longing for something, right? If you want something, it means you don't have it. Again, we're
Yes.
focusing on what we don't have.
Same with
When
the
you're
video game.
Exactly, exactly. And so when you're going to get something, you're in a different place, right? Going is much more guaranteed. I will have that. Let's go back to what we said earlier. It's a catalog with the universe, right? When you order something online, and they say this in The Secret as well, you don't go in and order it again and again and again. You place your order online and you expect it to come.
Exactly.
Similarly, we have to expect the same with law of attraction.
Mm-hmm.
Put it out, know that it will be there, and it will come. Similar to the win in your motherfucking video
Right,
game.
because it happened again today too. Because I was at this hard point where I was beating all these bosses and stuff like that, all these characters, baddies, whatever you want to call them, and I got to this level yesterday, and I was like, I can't beat it. I'm not able to beat it right now. I'm gonna do it tomorrow. So today I was like, okay, after work I'm playing. I'm going.
Like, I'm determined.
Yes, I am determined. I mean, I could have been really determined, but my day was already busy when I got into the day, so I was like, there's no way I can play it beforehand. Totally fine. Whatever. So right before the podcast, I was getting some work done, and then I was like, okay, I'm playing, and I'm going to beat this. And I had a moment where not beating it at all. And then finally I was like, okay, look, you're beating this. You're going to beat it. Okay, you've got this. Okay, focus. And then
Yep.
lo and behold, I did it. I did it.
If you want something bad enough and you work at something hard enough, you can attain it.
Yes.
And I really believe that in almost everything in our lives. And even if it's something like you mentioned, your video game, right? It's like if you shift your focus in wanting it bad enough and knowing now, okay, focus to get it. We're very powerful, frequency machines, for lack of better words, right?
And I'm actually going to take this a little bit further. If you're into like spirituality, like angel numbers and stuff like that, if you're not, it's fine, whatever. But you're wrong. No, I'm kidding. I keep getting 222 a lot.
One, two.
Yes.
No, they do. They show up a lot. I mean,
Lately, yes. So, and I think that's the one that's like you're on the right path. Like your angels are telling you like you're good. 444 came up too, and I think that's something similar. I don't remember. But it's cool to see like signs. There we go.
they all, and that's just it. And they're all interconnected, right? And they even talk about, because I'd be remiss to say this, right? The law of attraction, we talk about how you can accomplish everything, right? Including illness, weight. There's some other things, right? But that does not mean that you shouldn't take in modern medicine.
Exactly.
Right? There's obviously modern medicine has a place in this world of attraction, right? So if there's things that are ailing you in your life, right? I think we don't just shift to, going cross-legged in our living room and hoping that we can manifest it away. Yes, I think that's an important part of it. But again, we also can't lose modern medicine or know that medicine and things like that advance our society do absolutely have a place
Yes.
in this entire thing called law of attraction.
Yep.
And you talk about symbols and symbolisms and signs, and I thought that was really interesting because they also nailed that with kind of like your symbols of affirmation, like when you know things are going right.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a couple. They mentioned a feather, right?
A lot. They mentioned
A
the feather
lot,
a lot.
right?
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I feel like I tend to see feathers. I think she nailed. I don't know if she talked about it in the movie or if it was a follow-up book. But anytime that there's like a shininess, like when you look at like a high rise, right? You might see a glare off the
Mm-hmm.
high rise, or like you look at a pond, right, and you see the glare of the sun off the pond. Like anytime anything sort of glistens like that, I believe it's a bigger sign. And so
I do like literally think glitter.
Glittery thing.
Glittery
Yeah.
things.
Orders up. No, I love glittery things too. I know you do. But like that holographics are experience. But I believe that those are little sparkles of affirmation. Hawks, butterflies,
Oh my
things like that.
gosh. We were just talking about glitter beforehand and how I kept finding glitter everywhere.
That is that is hilarious. We absolutely were.
Oh my gosh.
But and there's no. I mean, literally, these are in my notes. It's hysterical that you say that. But yeah, before we recorded, El Pity was mentioning that she keeps finding glitter everywhere in her home, which I think is hilarious because she's like, I have no idea where it's coming from.
Yeah.
And isn't it interesting that if you take a step back and like look at the bigger picture, like maybe it is just some sort of affirmation in life to slow down, know that you're on the right track. Again, the glitter conversation in line with this entire subject of The Secret is just, again, not lost. And then not everything is coincidence as much as
Mhm.
we'd love to think it is.
Exactly. No, there are no coincidences. Coincidences.
No man, no coincidences, and no kadinkadinkies.
No
But no, I do love that
badunkadunk.
Bob Proctor. No badunkadunks. I do have plenty of badunkadunks. Thank you, Secrets. But no, that thoughts have a frequency, and that whether you understand or not. So right, it's a law of attraction, right? Just like the law of gravity. Whether you believe in the law of gravity or not, it's going to take place, right?
Mhm.
Well, if I say, oh, I don't believe in the law of gravity, I'm going to start floating, right? And so it's just,
Unless
like,
you
it doesn't
attract
work
it,
that way.
like I really
Unless
want
I
to
attract-
float. Really?
Float.
You know what? I just
I really
want
wanna
to speaking.
float.
I'm just gonna.
I want to float. I want to root beer float, frankly, along with floating. No, I don't want to float, universe. I just want to be in this life. But again, the law of attraction is ever at work, whether you're aware of it or not. I think when you can become in tune with it, right? I mean, we have so much fun in our lives, and we joke and we laugh and we go morbid, dark, hilarious places, right? But we also have depth and understanding that this entire thing, this universe thing, is a bigger thing,
Yes.
a bigger experience, I would think, than just us walking around in meat suits.
Yeah.
You know, although my meat suit is pretty fucking cute.
Your mute suit is great. Yeah. Yeah.
Your meat suit is great too, El Pity.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Can't wait to write that down.
You can't wait to hashtag meat suits. Now they talk a lot about thinking, right? Thinking what you want, manifesting by way of vision boards, writing it, saying affirmations like you did. But the secondary piece, which is a kind of level 2, level 3 piece of this, is feeling associated with the thought,
Yeah.
right? And I thought it was really interesting when they set up Olympic athletes to that biometric feedback equipment, when essentially that they could run the race in their mind and they could run the race in real life, and the same things, the things that fire in your brain, went off in the exact two examples. To say that you do the exact same thing when you sit down and imagine you winning a race than if you go out and win a race. So that manifestation process is very fascinating to me. And again, talks about like, yeah, if you can imagine it in your mind, you can imagine it in real life. And
I'm
again,
totally not going to talk
there's-
about video games again, but I'm totally going to talk about video games.
I think you should. And here's the reality. I think you applying it to video games is actually a great analogy for our listeners, because sometimes the shit that we're talking about has so much depth,
Yeah.
right, that people, it's hard to apply it to your life. I'm going to be genuine about that, right? It's hard to say, how is this applicable to the deep-seated issues that I may have in my marriage, right? Or how is this going to uplift my method for friendship in this? Like, yeah, sometimes it's hard to be applicable. So I love actually that you're mentioning video games.
Yeah. So the only one I had was like anytime you go to like a Dave and Buster's or like main event or something like that with a group of people, you always have to play Mario Kart. You just have to.
Mm-hmm.
You just
Oh,
have
100%.
to. And every time I sit down, I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna do good. That's it. And I usually come in second or first. So
You're like second or first. You're like, I am modest. I go second first.
yes. So second first.
First.
So
I love good Mario Kart, though. That is a very fun game.
we should play.
And again, you think about, we absolutely should, but you think about that too, like, right, when you're on a losing streak, it seems like you can't get out,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you're on a winning streak, and same thing, like in Mario Kart, right? Like, when you're not having a good game, you get hit by that stupid ass blue shell with the horns on it when
Yep.
you're in first place. Then boom, you're running and rolling, you get hit by one of those triple green ones,
Yep.
the turtle shell.
Then
And
all
then
of a
boom,
sudden you
you're
turn
ready
into
to
a
rock and
little.
roll.
You turn into a little bullet, and then you just speed past everyone, and you still finish in first. So
Yep, and then you still finish in first, because you know what that is? The manifestation at work. And they do
Yes.
talk about that too, right? You want a new car? Close your eyes and picture yourself in a brand new car.
right. And the big thing is too is don't question how it's going to happen. Just tell yourself that it's going to happen. Like you have to ask for it and then you got to believe it. So don't worry about this is a thing that I do. It's called overthinking. Overthinking.
Overthinking International.
Yes. Overthinking
Da, 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 da,
international.
da, da, da.
Do, 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 do.
It's the truth, though. The how is not our place. The how will be delivered by the universe or
Mhm.
God or whatever your belief system is, right? The how is not our place. The why is, the what is, and
Right.
so that's really the key.
Right. And it's once again like I'm just getting into this like I like things that have formulas, so the fact that I have a little phrase that I can say is just peachy keen. Like the fact that I know what to do now is great, but like I still am just like, well, what if I question this? You know what I mean? So I'm working on that for myself as far as not questioning as much as just asking and believing. So it's helped with
Yeah.
potty training too for my puppy. So
Of course it has.
yes.
And here's the thing, your limitation, and when I say you, I don't mean you, I mean the listeners at large, people at large. Your limitation is the only thing, right, in your mind that is holding you back from the life that you want to live.
Mhm.
Right? And again, here's where I want to be very clear about that. I understand that there is an element of privilege, an element of environments that have suited both Elpidia and I in different realms than other people, right? Meaning people have way more shittier lives than us, right? We
Mhm.
get that on other levels. But you are also a product of your thoughts,
Yes.
right? And that's really what this is saying. And that is really hard. So I would challenge if anyone feels defensive in the study of the law of attraction. First of all, that's totally normal, but also subside that because that takes you away from the actual goal to say, yes, I did attract everything in my
Right.
life,
You're automatically
right?
putting yourself into a negative tone, which is not
Exactly.
cohesive to the law of attraction. And I would say, hey, get a notebook and just start writing down, like, once again, it's hard. So start writing down what you don't want and then change those phrases to what you do want. So write down, I don't want this, cross it out, and be like, I want this instead. So for example, I don't want to be broke. Well, let me not say that. I want money.
Yep. I love money and money loves me,
Yep.
right? And there's ways to have affirmations, exactly like LPD said, is by still having underlying faith. But again, that's all to say what we were just saying. Like, you still have to be in the real world, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is an application that makes it challenging because we can't just be hippies dancing and prancing, although some are, and kudos to you.
Right.
But at large, people just can't do that, right? And so it really is this big, if you think about it very literally for all of our literal listeners, it's cause and effect, right? It's what you are putting out there and what you are gaining back, right? It's karmic return. It's all these things that you've heard in life. So this is not necessarily a new subject necessarily, but it is very interesting to think that by make believing, right? Start make believing and having feeling associated with make believe that you can manifest those things in our life.
Sorry, I'm trying to
And
cross my
yeah,
legs. Like, ask
cross
you.
them legs and play a little. You remember that that a musical that I feel like everyone had to watch in elementary school and middle school, Stomp.
I didn't watch that. I know about it, but I never got to
Yeah,
watch it.
I said everyone, like everyone watched it. Okay, maybe one of my teachers played Stomp, and then maybe another one did a couple years later. And I thought, wow, they play this a lot.
Well, I think back
Um,
then it was popular back then. We're old.
Stomp was, yeah, Stomp was a big deal. They're like, wow, they're playing music with trash cans.
So I have a question for you.
Yes,
Do you think the secret is the meaning of life? Is law of attraction the meaning of life?
I think the meaning of life, not to get super deep, but you asked the question, I think is to emit as much love as we humanly can by virtue of our spirit or soul. Right? I really do believe that is the meaning of life. Putting as much love into the world as possible. And what that generates is feelings of value, feelings of belonging, feelings of understanding, which are also the meaning of life. But I believe that they're all stemmed from a place of love, which, if we're really talking at large, love is the law of attraction, right? Is emitting and being grateful, loving, thankful, grateful, etc. The words that I may have repeated, but they're that important to come back. And so, yeah, I think at the end, at the core, the meaning of life is love. Um, and so, but then I think those are all, you know, like little, synapses or whatever it's in the brain, right? Those little the little bunny trails of the brain. I think those are aspects of it, but it all comes from exactly
These things.
juju, juju, which is also hello in Sims, zuzu, and so now, but I do think it's that through line of love, and it's something that it's I genuinely go into the world, and again, I have a lot of fun, and I don't talk of this depth in my day to day necessarily, but I genuinely try to go in and make things better than they were when I came into them. Right? Leave things better than you found them is a
Mm-hmm.
really big thing for me. And I think that, if you come from a place of love, whether that be, even if it's as simple as an Uber driver,
Yeah.
right? There's an impact that I do believe that I have on the world, and it should be loving and positive. And so that's what I try to admit. Um, but what are your thoughts on that? And then I want to pose that question back to you secondarily.
Um, I love that. I mean, I was just gonna say positivity, just bringing positivity, blah, 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 being
They would do
positive.
it well.
Yeah,
But you're
exactly.
right. I mean, 100%. But if you think about positivity, right, at the core is love,
Mm-hmm.
right? At the way to be positive is to have a loving feeling associated with the positive affirmative thought or the positive affirmative action, whatever it may be. But you're right. It's like all rooted in love and positivity.
Yep.
Now, do you believe that that innately is our core, right? Do you believe that positivity comes innately for people, or is that something that's learned?
Oof. I think it could go both ways, honestly.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because
Genuine thought. What do you believe? I'll be honest with you, I believe it's innate. Like, I just believe people are loving at the core, right? And I'm gonna go real deep for this a second. I believe people have two really big goals in life: it's to be loved and to be understood. And any turmoil, any serious issue of violence, if you think about it, are rooted at either not feeling loved or on some level not feeling understood.
that's a great
Again,
point.
I'm not justifying anyone's actions in the world, but any conflict, right? We've had in our own home is like, oh, if we fight with a spouse or if we fight with a sibling, it's it's feeling not feeling loved. Okay, fine, they love you, or it's not feeling understood. It's like
Yeah.
you didn't hear what I'm saying. You're not hearing how hurt this makes me, etc.
And I think
Right?
the other factor to put into this is you're a product of your society. Like I've
Hmm?
talked about this for a long time. Like you see it, it's our political climate right now. You're born into some people are born into hate versus some people
Yes.
being born into love and understanding, like you were saying. And some people just don't know better, and it's up to them to have that journey one day. Like hopefully one day they have that journey where they realize, oh, what am I putting out into the world and what am I getting back from the world? You know what I mean?
Yep. And that naivety that you mentioned, right? The people don't know better. I
Mm-hmm.
agree with. But is that, although natural for someone, is that innate for someone? Right? Meaning, if something's natural for me because I'm a product of my society, which you mentioned, right? Which I agree with, right? If I have parents who might be very closed-minded, I may result in being closed-minded also, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's outliers in which I don't, but yes, now this closed-minded mentality might come natural to me, but is it innate? Is it my core? Is it my being? Right? And so that's where I think is a really interesting thing because I think it feels natural to some people. You're like, yeah, you just seem like you don't know any better. But yeah, that's the human cloak version, the meat suit version of that, right? But at the core, do you understand the calamity? At the core, don't we all just love? Right?
Right.
If we're these orbs or what angels, etc., whatever your belief system is in religion, are running around, reincarnated, everything, then isn't there something bigger than that? So I don't know. I think it's something interesting to speak about. Um, but how fun that a conversation like the law of attraction is able to warrant such depth
Yep.
of what good is, what bad is, what love is. And again, I think when you strip it all down, I think we all are love.
Something so complicated and complex can be achieved so easily.
And that really is the core message of The Secret is although we have completely over convoluted and over complicated life and philosophies of it, right? Because even the philosophy of life, I mean, how people have what is the meaning of life? Like that's been a question asked for
Ever.
centuries.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, exactly. You think about, yeah, if we have such longing to want to define it, and if we just simplify it to your point, it's very easy to understand, right? At
Mm-hmm.
the core, it's putting out the love that you have for that love to return to you. And when we think about it applicably to the law of attraction, it's things that you want in your life. I think it's interesting. You know, I don't know. I've remember recalled this part of the movie or book, but they talk about one of my favorite movies. Actually, hilariously, is Aladdin and the genie. Apparently, this is a very old story, not just rooted as Disney. So this is really interesting to me. And there is no
Wait a minute.
history.
Wait a minute. You didn't know that Aladdin wasn't a Disney thing?
Swear on my life. Orders up. I'm still stupid. Sorry, Law of Attraction. It's true. I did not know Aladdin was not just a Disney movie. I was like, wow,
Good to know.
this is interesting. So it turns out there was a lamp. Turns out there was a genie.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting about the historic ties of it is when you go back to the history, and this is said in the film or movie, I can't adequately know because I haven't read these books, but there is no indication or limitation to three wishes with the genie, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's something, again, as humans, we've quantified how many wishes you can have.
Right.
But then you think about this at large, right? That this whole genie stuff business has been going on for so long, and it really speaks to like if everyone has a lamp and the power of the genie, don't we all have the power of attraction? Don't we all have the power to make our wishes our own command and our lives?
Yep.
The order has been up because it is up.
That's so weird that yeah, it's they don't quantify a number, but we always are like three or four. Like I've heard people say
Yep.
four wishes, but I think
Yeah,
that was just like a comedy act or something like that. I don't know.
probably right. And then people are like, and you're like, how do you know? Like, and here's the reality: if the genie is that almighty, like, wait, it's going to limit you to three things.
Right.
No, but again, if you think about it deeper, like the depth of the story, that people can manifest anything they want. You know, for you to dream to be king, or for you to be dream to be queen, or you to dream to be,
A
whatever it may
goddess.
be, of yes, a goddess, right? All are pretty reasonable.
Totally.
Most. But again, and here's the thing that they talk about, right? It has to be believable to you. So you can't attract make believe because it's not actually believable in your mind because we all do rationalize in human form,
Right.
right? Like I could say, oh, I want to grow wings and have high heeled boots
I'm
to my
not a
feet.
pop star. I'm not a pop star.
Exactly.
So I haven't won American Idol or anything like that. So I haven't tried out for it, but
But that's a different story, right? That's more attainable, right? Because that's actually in the world of
growing
reality,
wings.
right? But growing wings, I would say, is the opposite.
Yes.
Right? It's like obviously you can't grow wings, literally, right? But that's again in our scope of reality. And what my point in that is, someone saying that it's not in the realm of possibility to become a pop star is true when you make that statement,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's what's really interesting because we all do it because we're rational adults, right? So you're rational. Like I can't say that tomorrow I'm going to become a counterpart to Tom Cruise in movies, right? That's a crazy ask or desire, frankly. But again, you think about it, you're like, isn't that interesting that we limit ourselves, right? People don't win the Mega Millions statistically for a reason, but
That's true.
holistically,
As I have hiccups, sorry. That's what that
right?
was.
But statistically or holistically speaking, people can't actually fathom the reality of winning that much money.
Mm-hmm.
Like genuinely, you could, and most winners can't, right? So the off chance that but there's an element of attraction that happens with all of those things, which I think is just so fun. And I love the genie analogy at large. And how funny that we've had this story and this law of attraction story really in history for longer than Disney, turns out, and we now know that there might be some deeper meaning to it. But
Right. And you said something really good is, yeah, you have to visualize it too. Like, not only do you have to believe it, you have to visualize it. So that just goes with believing in it. So, and for some of us, that can be hard because I have a thing where I can't, like, always visualize thoughts. Like, I can't visualize items. Like, if you close your eyes right now and picture a red apple, I can't do that easily. So,
yep, and I think for one thing that's really helped, and I totally hear you. It's very hard to get into the world of imagining
mm-hmm.
quickly. And so I
Mm-hmm.
think there's two things that are tough. We don't have much time in the world, but we have to give ourselves enough time to fall into that place. But I love the analogy, especially as you talk about an apple, right? It's very easy for you to picture your kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when you talk about a red apple, right, I would challenge you to close your eyes, walk into your kitchen, grab your refrigerator door, open it, and grab an apple. Right? That is so
In my
real for
brain,
you.
right? Not like
Uh-huh.
like close my eyes
You
and
could do
like
that in real life and go do it, and
I
it would
would
be
break
really
something
real.
again on my body. So I can't do
Right,
that.
but really think about that. Exactly, then it's more rooted in reality, right? Like you can
Hmm.
picture, your refrigerator. It's not weird because you go to it every day, right?
Exactly. It's like having a
Same.
dream that you are up and getting ready and stuff like that, and in the shower, then you realize, oh, I'm still dreaming. So,
I'm still dreaming. No, exactly. You're exactly right. It's like there's this whole element. So I would challenge because I do think you're right in that it's very hard to visualize yourself in a place that's not reality.
hmm.
And that's probably healthy for people, right? Like it's probably healthy that you're not able to root yourself into such fantasy so quickly. But it becomes challenging when you want to track things and manifest because you really have to ask, believe, receive. You have to really put it out into the world, believe it by seeing, by feeling, by thinking. And that's how you manifest those things.
Like I totally would get an ask, believe, receive tattoo. Like I would do it.
Hmm.
Like put it right here
Ask,
so I can easily see.
believe,
Ask, believe, receive.
receive.
Yes.
I would do an axe, a little leaf, and then
Writing
a
this
little
down.
radio, and then a little radio receiver.
Axe, leaf, radio.
Ask, believe, receiver. Or ask, believe, receive would be fine with some hearts. But no, there's this. But again, it's very challenging, and I think this is interesting. I'm very curious what our listening audience is thinking, along with our folks who are watching on YouTube or Twitch. Remember, you can keep the conversation engaged at hashtag that podcast all over social media.
Media.
And I really want to know your thoughts. Like, what is your thought on the law of attraction? Um, is it hard to subscribe to, right? I think this is a different conversation than say like astrology or zodiacs. I think although they can go hand in hand, right? I think people are like, I don't believe in that shit. Okay, fine,
Yeah.
right? But I don't know that that's the same conversation of like law of attraction
We
again.
technically
It's
are
at
talking
work.
about science. This is a law of
This is
science.
and here's the reality. We talked about this earlier. Thoughts have frequency,
Mm-hmm.
and if we can align that frequency with another thing universally with the same frequency, meaning we are having the same thoughts aligned with our same desire, how could we not live that life when we are literally universally on the same frequency of thought? And that proves exactly like we were saying. You know when you're gonna win a game,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you play sports, you know, right? And I'll tell you right now, when you lose, right? I was doing those wrestling matches a while back because like these are not the pre-planned. This is more amateur wrestling where you were actually grappling. You know when you're going to win, and you
Mm-hmm.
know when you're going to lose.
Yep.
And universally, law of attraction wise, like again, you're putting it out there. You're like, I'm never going to beat this guy. Whereas like, oh, that's going to be easy peas. It's all in the reality of your brain.
Yep. Exactly. So start using that brain. I want to challenge everyone to like just say a couple phrases. Just think of one thing that you want and just start asking for it and saying that you believe in it and that you're going to receive it. Just try it out and see what happens.
Yep, I totally agree, and I think you should select a time like El Pity, whether that be 10 o'clock every day. If you want to set an alarm for 11:11 every day, if that's possible. But yes, ding dong. That's
Ding
that's
dong.
the answer for you listening to the universal message.
No coincidence.
11:11, none at all. But no, yeah, exactly. Think about what you want, and also align yourself with symbols of affirmation. So every day, give thought for what you want. Ask, believe, receive. And I would challenge you that you only stick to one thing right now, right? I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't I wouldn't stick to a million different things every day. One thing that you desire,
Yes, and
right?
for those of you that have
Um,
ADHD, I get it. It's hard, but yeah, write it down. Write it down as a manifestation. You're manifesting it. So I want this.
yeah.
I want this.
And mine is always I think about be healthy and being prosperous with my actual health, right? Being a
Mm-hmm.
healthy individual, fit in shape. And it's interesting that that again, much can be attributed to the science of your body, right? Your genetic makeup of why certain diets don't work. But there's also truth to the statement, right, where people say I can eat anything and never gain a pound. Right? Everyone listening, I'm sure we all have that friend who can eat everything under the sun
Mm-hmm.
and not gain a single pound, right? I mean, like
Rude.
it's crazy. And so yes, but again, systematic like as humans, we're like that's because they have a fast metabolism. like yes, okay, scientific that may be true, but how does that manifest itself, right? Do
Mm-hmm.
people just genuinely continue to that their reality is they've never gained weight by eating whatever they want.
Right.
So their reality will never change to say, "Oh, now I eat and now I'm going to start gaining weight." Right? If your genetic makeup does shift, your thought has to shift that says, "No, it does not get more challenging to lose weight as I get older." Right? Because there are older people who are insane shape for what they are. And I don't mean a physical shape, I mean a health shape. Right? And so
When I grow up, I want to be a circle.
I want to be a circle, a triangle, a square,
I want to be a
mm,
rhombus.
a rhombus. Let's go back. A rhombus. Hello, rhombus. Rhombus. Text LPD. But yeah, I think it's fascinating to lean into it. But again, my point in saying that is, but I'm really focusing on the manifestation of health and wealth and all that good stuff. But if any of you guys are manifesting something, again, ask, believe, receive at least once a day, and use those symbols we talked about, whether it be the little glitters, the shinies, every time you see the color gold, or maybe it's every time you see the numbers 222, 444, 777. Get out of the casino. And then what
Run.
will happen? Run. No, I'm kidding. I love the casino, folks. But again, I tend to win in the casino, right? I tend to buy scratchies and win. But again, it's because I have this mentality that I go in thinking I will win. I don't want to lose, right? There are times in which I feel defeated. I lose, right? Of course, there's statistically things that work, but you have so much more power than you realize.
I feel
Everyone
like I need to
listening.
go to Vegas right now then.
100%. If you believe, you will receive.
Exactly. Let's go to
That's right.
Caesars. Get in the car. We're going right now.
Yeehaw!
There it is.
There she goes. But yeah, I think that's really beautiful, and I think I'm really interested to see like now you having more of this power,
Hmm.
right? Where it now takes you to know that you are, like all of us. And again, it's a reminder for those of you who've heard this law of attraction that no one lives it truly and effortlessly, right? The fact that we had to do this and speak to it with such depth and love that we've given on a Monday night is tough, right? Like
Yes.
that's not lost on anyone. But the
But
reality is,
go ahead.
look
Sorry.
how it no, but look how it shifted our thinking, our night. Other people who's listening, right? You may be starting your work there, ending it, or you may be, whatever it may be in your life. But it's amazing how the conversation of attraction, love, positivity does impact the trajectory of not only conversations but your life.
Yes. And once again, you're going to start seeing signs of being like, oh, this is actually working, or oh, somebody's listening. You'll also realize, for me at least, I started to like realize, oh, all these like old TikToks I would hear about, like, oh, do this, do this, this. Like everything's starting to like connect the dots now and be like, oh, I get it now. Now that I have this basic understanding of the law of attraction, I get what they're saying. I get why they do this. Like for me, I make planner pages, and I realized I keep seeing like gratitude journal, and I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna make that. Who's gonna want that? And then I'm like, oh, I get it now. Now I need to make one, so I did. Um,
Awesome. See, but you're exactly right. Like it's the who taking it away from who would want that, right? Is your exact shift is like, oh, clearly there's a need and want. I can create that, right?
yeah.
And that's a really amazing place to be in, that you can shift, that you're open enough in the universe to hear the signs and shift. The law of attraction, I think you're right, is this really nice through line of everything in life. And that's why they call it the secret, right? The secret. Because they do a lot of that whispering
Yes.
in the movie and the audiobook too, which I love.
Yeah.
But
It's a little gets a little cheesy, but you know what?
crazy,
But
crazy,
it's so fun.
and I do think that's a really good point, LPD. We should mention as a group, as a you should mention, I should mention, we should mention, Dr. Seuss. It is a little corn, right?
Yes.
There is corniness to it. Again, if you can get past that and understand the message, I think you're really it's going to resonate, right? There's
Hmm.
just some amazing speakers who, again, speak through the through line of law of attraction. And once you have that secret, yeah, you'll understand so much more. And that's why they call it that, because it seems so commonsensical, right? I'm not sure if that's a word, but I'm going to use it.
Yep.
Um,
Sure.
and people don't use it. So the word or the law of attraction, frankly. But yeah, it's this. And so when you find out the secret, and again, they even talked about the history of it, right? This was kept away from people in the olden times, right?
Yes.
People who were working in factories, even working as
Uh-oh, hold on. We lost sound. I lost sound. Are you I lost you. Go ahead and talk for me real quick. Do it again. Nope, I have lost you completely. You just went out. He was making a very good point. I do apologize. Do you want to try to jump out? No, I can't hear you at all. No, I can't hear you. Okay, he's jumping out. It's just me now. As you can see, John Landon has left the meeting. Oh, he's back. Let's see if we can hear him. Go ahead and talk.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. That's good. Okay, that was so weird.
Fantastic. All right. So, but yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but again, universally, there's a reason that happened. And yes, amen.
You were about to share the secret of life. That's what was going to happen. And
No,
the
it
spirits
is
were
a
like,
secret,
we're not
but
ready.
we're just not ready. No, but the reality is you are ready now. And maybe it took us taking a break, like we just did, for this message to resonate with us and maybe people who are listening.
Yes.
But understanding the secret was kept away from people who were ostracized, kept at the bottom of the totem pole. And there was a reason it was called the secret. It was kept away from the people, which is everyone, who needs to hear it and know that they can really manifest anything that they want in life. But really think about this on a deep level. When you prevent a subset of human beings on any level, however that statement resonates with you, that is the number one way to prevent them from accomplishing anything in life, is by preventing them from having the law of attraction, preventing them from knowing that they can accomplish or doing anything in their life.
Mm-hmm.
And how many people in this world, in this country, in the city, etc., have that feeling of, I can never accomplish that because it's not my reality. I can never accomplish that because of the circumstances in which have been built around me that are against me.
You got to believe in yourself.
You have to believe in yourself despite everything around you, because it is designed. People in power kept this from people like us,
Yes.
everyone listening, you, right? And so now that you have the power, now that you have the secret, you can now apply it, and that's the cool shit.
Yep. You don't have to
and
do
yeah, and I
anything
think-
else. Just start it right now.
Yep.
You don't have to buy nothing. You don't have to buy anything. Like, you can watch The Secret for free on YouTube.
That's exactly right, which we recommend. And
Yes.
again, it's interesting that I've been, well, say pressing The Secret with El Pity for years, right? I mean, is that a fair statement? I mean, it's
I
been
wouldn't say
something that's been.
pressing, but like you would just like when I keep seeing The Secret, I'm like, oh, John told me about that. Oh, I should probably watch that. And then sometime last week, I was just like, maybe I should watch that. Maybe there's something there. Something's connecting the dots here. And then I watched it. I was like, okay, I get it now. The dots have been
Yep.
connected. The connect the dots puzzle has been completed. I get it.
So maybe not, yeah, exactly. Sorry, maybe not a press, but I think there was, always a connection I had to The Secret, and always felt like everyone needed to hear it, right? But it's very similar to religion, right? You don't want to become the crazy friend who's like, do you believe in the power of The Secret?
Right.
Because, but what's interesting is, with that being said, you and I have been friends for over a decade now, which is insane to say out loud.
Weird.
And yeah, it's for you to discover in this time in your life is so vital, because this is the time in which you're receptive to hear it.
Yeah.
And that's the magical part about all of it, right? Is like, yeah, maybe the other times weren't right for whatever universal reason, right? We don't know. But when I heard it was when I needed to hear it, right? And those of you listening, now is the reason, and now is the time you need to hear it.
Yes. So take it and run with it and grow
And
and love and share positivity. And
remember that's kind of how the audiobook and movie does. They do have a lot of like encouraging choir music too, which I love.
I do love some good choir music.
I'm like, wow, that's very encouraging. No, but you're right. El Pity is like just believing in that yourself and knowing that you can manifest anything in your life. And so again, start today. El Pity wants to get it tattooed, right? It's very simple, 3
right.
words.
Yep. I might do it in English. I might do it in the symbols. I might do it in not Greek, Latin. There we go.
I love that. But as we sign off on this podcast, remind everyone what those 3 things are.
Ask, believe, receive. Boom. Let's say it
That's
again.
exactly right.
Ask, believe, receive. What?
Everybody now. Ask, believe, receive. Everybody now. Everybody now. Manifestation. Ask, believe, receive.
What?
No, but really, although, thank you, audience. You guys are too kind. And DJ Khaled, ask, believe, receive. Thank you. But it's true. Ask, believe, your thoughts and your feelings become things. Just don't forget the power, you guys. It's really
Yes.
amazing. What a fun way, El Pity, to turn around our Monday evenings, huh?
Yes, because today started off really rough. So,
It was a doozy, right? And I always say, as opposed to saying it was a doozy or rough, right? It was not as pleasant as I would have liked.
yeah.
And again, we really want the pleasantries to ring true, and I think tomorrow is going to bring us that. But yeah, it's interesting that A, we had this conversation. B, we're starting the week for us, many of the listeners listening. If you're listening at the start of the week or whenever you are supposed to be hearing this, is when you are. And I just think it's a really nice through line for the rest of the week. The end of this year, obviously, you'll still be hearing from us, but my friends and our friends, frankly, is the law of attraction.
No, you're not my
The
friends.
big
I'm
old.
just kidding.
You're not my friends.
I
You
love
are.
you guys.
I love you guys. Also, no, but that's. We've now let you in on the secret.
Yes, the secret. So
Da da
check it
da
out.
da da da. Bam.
Woo! Yes, if you're still a skeptic, that's totally fine. But once again, it's free on YouTube. Just go and watch it. First, the beginning part is a little cheesy. Laugh about it, totally fine. And then listen to the message because there is really good messages in there too. There's some really cool stories and stuff in there. So yeah, check it out.
Yep. It goes hand in hand with any belief system you have. I really believe that. It's not a replacement for religion. It's not a replacement for science. It really works well as this anecdotal addition to your holistic journey.
And think about it this way: other stuff hasn't worked for you in the past. Why not try something new?
Bitch, ain't that the tea? Orders up. What do you have to lose?
Right.
Exactly.
It's free. You can start it right now. So
Exactly. So that's our mission to you. But listen, we're going to be back next week for episode number 97, which I cannot believe, El Pity.
weird. Oh my gosh, so weird. But
Super
yeah,
weird.
we are super there. I have a hangnail, so I gotta take care of that. That is.
She's got a hangnail, which she's got to get taken care of, and she's going to have clear, healthy cuticles. Clear, healthy cuticles. Clear, healthy cuticles.
Got my
Speaking of
cuticle
clear,
oil.
healthy cuticles, my name is John John,
And I'm El Pity. Look at me. I'm a
Cuticle
hand
Oil
model.
Queen.
Yes.
And this is hashtag that podcast. We love you guys so much. Put out what you want. Ask, believe, receive. Thoughts become things. Love you
Yes.
guys.
Love
See
you
you next
guys.
time.
Peace.
Bye.